It's FA Cup time. And the last time we won an FA Cup was 5 years ago. Well, probably six now. 6 years ago. And the person who last lifted it was Mikel Arteta with a very, very bad Arsenal team. We all know the COVID Arsenal. It was comical. Kieran Tierney, I remember there's one turn he did, yeah. He tried to kick the ball and his body just swayed like it was warping and he fell on the floor. But with that team, it was the last team to actually lift the cup, believe it or not. Even though it was comical, this team has yet to taste silverware. And I think we are obviously in the final for the Carabao Cup, which could be the start point of us lifting many more this season, which I hope, fingers crossed. But the FA Cup is also a path to silverware. Now, some teams that have actually won the Carabao Cup, FA Cup in recent times is Man United. They've been really good. Despite having their manager issues, they're actually a team that's been lifting these domestic cups. And you can somewhat say it's been a successful season for them because they've lifted silverware. Even if you don't deem it as a major cup, a cup is still a cup. Silverware is still a silverware. You as Arsenal fans, I know if I pose this question to you, would you rather finish the season with 0 trophies or would you finish the season with Carabao Cup or the FA Cup? I'm pretty sure 99.9% of you would say we would like to finish with a trophy, whether it's Carabao Cup or the FA Cup. And this is exactly what I think Arsenal definitely need to help them with the trophy collection. The FA Cup and Carabao Cup, I don't deem no cup small. I deem a cup a result of winning. Silverware, whether it's Carabao, Premier League, Champions League, if silverware is entering your cabinet in the stadium, you are successful. That's how success is measured in football. What silverware do you bring home? That's the reason why a lot of fan bases talk about Arsenal are not the best team in London because we have not had a Champions League or a Europa. And before some of you Arsenal fans come and say, oh, you got the European Cup Winners' Cup, that came out before we were all born, yeah? I think that was around my dad was born. That doesn't count. That's not the Champions League. The Champions League is the latest European Cup which holds weight. It's what we need. But nonetheless, we're here for the FA Cup. So let's move on to FA Cup. Arsenal obviously had a bit of a little, call it a little road bump with the Brentford draw. We're still 4 points ahead. But we travel to Wigan before our game against the Wolves. Now, Wigan, they made it this far in the competition of the FA Cup. Not many games in there to make it this far, but still, they made it here. Why we should not take Wigan lightly or any game lightly, because this is the crucial part of the season. Treat every game like you're playing a big contending team. I think the problem is with Arsenal over the years, I haven't seen it so much this year as I did in the previous seasons, is that we overlook opponents because we think if we walk in there, we're going to breeze past them. But that's not always the case. Let me remind you of a match. Sorry, United fans, but Grimsby Town. Yeah, little old Grimsby Town knocked United out of a cup. Yeah, Macclesfield knocked out Crystal Palace. And Crystal Palace wanted a replay. So these teams, they are hungry. Because Wigan are not in the Premier League. They're below us. They're below in the Championship or League One, wherever they're in. I've not checked. But they want silverware. An FA Cup for them is like a Champions League. We should not take this lightly. We need to make sure we go in there, do our job, and come out victorious. FA Cup, I like the FA Cup. I think Wenger, before he departed, the FA Cup was his best friend in the last few seasons before he parted ways. And Arsenal, when it comes to FA Cups, we're probably one of the most successful teams in the league at winning the FA Cup. So why not? Why not win Carabao? Why not win FA Cup and a major title like Champions League or Premier League? I think the good thing is about Arsenal this season as well is that our expectation, has now elevated to a point where we're seeing that Arsenal are playing so well. And okay, they might get a draw here, there, or a loss, but that's football. And it's like, why can't we get all 4 trophies? Why can't we get the FA Cup? I think the previous seasons, when it's this stage of the league, we're We want Arsenal to get the FA Cup. We want Arsenal to get the Carabao Cup because you need to concentrate on the league or concentrate on Champions League. But I feel like that mentality is not going to take you very far because you're already bringing down, your admiration to get all the cups. You're bringing down the level, the goals you want to achieve. And we're not a small club. We're not Tottenham Hotspur. We're not facing a relegation battle soon. Why can't we go out and get it? So I want Arsenal to obviously go out and win as many trophies as they can. I'm sure all of you guys do. But it's important to understand that we're not the same Arsenal as we were the last few seasons. We would have been at the FA Cup by now. We've not come close to a final since, probably last year in the Champions League in the semi-final. But again, we weren't close. We got dismantled by PSG. But we've not come close to a domestic League Cup final since we won it with Arteta in his first few games 5-6 years ago. So it just shows you that we're tired of this. It doesn't matter. It's a small trophy. We don't need it. No. We do need it. This team has not tasted silverware. And I guarantee you, when they taste silverware, whereas Carabao FA Cup, watch the levels raise. Watch the levels rise. Watch the levels change for the better. Because at the end of the day, I don't believe that a team can always aim for the Premier League if they're not winning trophies. I don't know what it's like. We want that knock-on effect. We want that momentum. You win one, go and get another. You won the Premier League, go and get the Champions League final. This is what teams do. Chelsea are successful. They've even with Maresca, they've tasted silverware and some deep and good cups. European Conference League is still a European Cup. Okay, it's not on the same par as Europa and probably Champions League, but they've still won it. West Ham have won a European Cup. If we had that, we would have been like, great season. But I'll tell you what's not a great season. We walk away with no trophies. But Arsenal, we need to make sure that we're on point and we beat Wigan. And I feel like we're going to do that. So, how do I feel like the game's going to go? I feel like before we go into the game and the team sheet, I want to talk about some players that I think need to definitely play. I think this is a great game for Skelly. Obviously, Saliba didn't play against Brentford. Hopefully, he's all right. I would rather rest him for this type of game if he's got an injury and have him back for the Wolves game midweek. But there are some players on the bench that definitely need to play, like Norgard, Skelly, Kepa, I think will probably play as well. But there's some key players in this team that definitely need to get some game time. And FA Cup, Carabao Cup is the perfect place. It's been working as well. You can see, obviously, with us reaching the final now, that the way the team is changing around, the team sheet's changing. We're having success. Hence why we've reached a final already. So I think we could do the same with the FA Cup. Now, let's talk about the team sheet. Team sheet I'm going to go for is probably the similar one to Portsmouth. Obviously, there's no Havertz this time, so he won't be coming on. Obviously, an injury. They're saying that he could be missing the North London derby as well. It's not a long period of time, but obviously it's still, missing a fair few games. There's not many games left. So every game you miss, is just one off the list, and the season's going to end soon. We're in that crucial time period now, the knockout season. But I'm going to go with Kepa in goal. Right back, I want to see Benny. Right centre back, obviously I'm going to assume that Saliba's not going to be back, and I'd rather have him rested if he just come off an injury rather than risking him again. So I'm going to say Mosquera. I'm also going to say left centre back, I'm going to go with Calafiori. Left back, I'm going to go with Hincapié. I think Hincapié had a phenomenal game against Brentford. He didn't get beaten once. Okay, his attacking isn't as great as his defending, but again, he's brought in as a defender. Yeah. Midfielders, I'm going to go with, I want Declan Rice to have a bit of a rest. He's been going mad with the running. He might start, he might not, but I'd rather Zubimendi and Norgard in the middle. Number 10, I think Arteta is going to probably stick with Eze. I think Eze's probably suited to these small types of games. Right wing, I'm going to go with Madueke. Left wing, I'm going to go with Martinelli. And up front, I think he's going to go with Gabby Jesus. I think there's a few key players that he wants rested for the Wolves game, and rightfully so. You know, because Wigan, no disrespect, they're not a Premier League team. And I think that the team sheet that I just mentioned now is still solid. You know, some of these players that I expected to be in the game against Brentford didn't come on as a sub. I was a bit disappointed, like Gabby Jesus, trying to chase a goal. Should have brought him on. But at the end of the day, you know, it's the manager's call. When we played Sunderland, I said that Arteta made some fantastic changes at the right time. If we did win the game, I would say, you know what? Correct decision by the manager. So it's all about just being consistent. I need to be consistent as well. So yeah. And I'm going to go with a nice, let's go with a nice 3-0 victory. I think the defense I mentioned just now, great. You know, we shuffled so much. I think we've conceded the least goals in the league, scored the most goals in the league. So I feel like we're gonna get a 3-0. I think Gabby Jesus with 2 goals, and I'm gonna say Martinelli with a 3rd. So yeah, Gabby Jesus with 2, Martinelli with 1, and I think we're gonna breeze past Wigan. But that's what I'm hoping for anyway. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Please let me know about you know, what you think will happen. You know, if there's anyone I missed out that should have been playing in the team sheet rather than, you know, anyone that I mentioned before. And also make sure you hit the notification bell, hit the like button. I'm always uploading on this channel. And most of all, let's get that win. Till next time.